Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I would really love that if you're returning. How you doing? All right. We've got a lot to talk about. Okay. So I hope you're ready. I saw a post claiming that the FBI has warned that Venezuela's Maduro regime is training TDA members to conduct assassination plots against Americans on U.S. soil. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, what? So I'm going to break this down using available information like I always do, okay? Critically examining the claims while staying grounded in what's verified. And I'm going to address the post claims and the FBI's stance. So I'm going to put the post up. Okay, you see them? The first one says to her, the FBI has issued a warning that Venezuela's Maduro regime is actively training TDA to carry out assassination plots against Americans on U.S. soil. The drive-by media is deliberately ignoring the unclassified FBI assessment exposing these threats. And this one says, the FBI has already determined that Venezuela's TDA paramilitary are invading the U.S. Democrat judges have no business second-guessing them. So then you see this. It says Democrat judges should not deny the invasion the FBI has already confirmed. Okay? So I know that the last time I did a video on TDA, a lot of people said they've already been deported. You know how easy it is for them to come back? New recruits, or whatever the case may be. Alright? I just want people to be aware of what's really going on, guys. Because this is some scary shiznit. Okay? It really, truly is.
An FBI assessment that was unclassified that said that the Maduro regime is using and planning to use trained Nicaragua terrorists to carry out assassination plots on American soil. Now, very few in this room covered that. I'll let you all ask yourselves why you didn't cover it and why your editors didn't assign that story to you. Something I think you should think about on your own. But this is a earth-shattering piece of news. The Biden administration imported the terrorist army that our own FBI assesses is planning assassination strikes on American soil against critics of the Maduro regime. Those are the terrorists that President Trump is finding and apprehending that our Democrat judges and Democrat activists are trying to keep on U.S. soil. Trained Nicaragua has the same legal status as Al-Qaeda and ISIS. MS-13 has the same legal status as Al-Qaeda and ISIS. These are foreign terrorists operating on our soil. And our gratitude to El Salvador for agreeing to take custody of these terrorists is immense.
So now let's go over everything, okay? And let's start from the beginning. So what is TDA? It's a Venezuelan criminal organization that originated in the Turacoran prison in Aragua, Venezuela. All right. It's known for activities like trafficking, extortion, violent crime. And in recent years, TDA has expanded its reach beyond Venezuela, with reported activities in countries like Chile, Peru, Colombia, and here in the United States. The U.S. has designated TDA as a foreign terrorist organization in 2025, reflecting its perceived threat to public safety. Now let's talk about the FBI's assessment of TDA and Maduro's involvement. Okay. The FBI has indeed issued assessments about TDA's presence in the U.S. And according to a report from April 23rd, 2025, the FBI believes that some of these Venezuelan government officials likely facilitate the migration of TDA members to the U.S. to advance the Maduro regime's goal of undermining public safety. And the report suggests that TDA members could be used as proxies to destabilize countries, including these United States, and potentially target Venezuelan critics or their opponents on U.S. soil, such as through like kidnappings or assassinations. Now, however, the claim, okay, in those posts that I showed you about TDA being actively trained by the Maduro regime for plots against Americans is more specific and inflammatory. The FBI's unclassified assessment, as reported, doesn't explicitly confirm active training programs or targeted plots against us in general. But you know Maduro. You know how dirty he is. And you know how dirty TDA is. So don't put anything past them. Ever. Okay? Instead, this assessment, unclassified assessment, focuses on the potential for TDA to target Venezuelan dissidents or critics abroad, with the U.S. as one possible location. So the post's language may exaggerate or misinterpret the FBI's findings, as no public FBI statement directly confirms assassination plot against Americans as a broad objective. Additionally, a conflicting report from the Associated Press cited referenced a National Intelligence Council assessment that found no coordination between TDA and the Maduro regime, but this was disputed, okay, by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who called the leak an attempt to undermine this administration's narrative. And this highlights competing intelligence narratives. So we should approach claims of direct Maduro TDA collusion with caution until more evidence is public. So the Post also claims that the drive-by media is ignoring the FBI's assessment. And this is a subjective statement, if you will. Major outlets, like media outlets, have covered TDA's activities, and the FBI's concerns through their framing varies. The claim of media suppression may reflect the Post's frustrations with the extent or the tone of coverage. But then again, I think we're all frustrated with what we all went through for the past 4 years, and how we were so happy that with the mass buy-bys and stuff like that. But, you know, are they ever really truly going to get them all gone? No. There's going to be bad guys that are left, you know. But, you know, the Post, I don't know if it's entirely accurate to say that the media is ignoring the issue. I mean, the media, if it doesn't meet their agenda, they're not going to speak on certain things. You know that as well as I do. That's why a lot of you guys rely on people like me, on people like Jason, on people like Pinball and stuff like that to get the news that is not covered right on. So the part about the Democratic judges, that's a political opinion. It may or may not be factual. I wasn't able to find anything Um, there are current U.S. actions against TDA. The U.S. is actively targeting TDA. Like I said, on April 23rd, the Department of Justice unsealed a superseding indictment against a high-ranking TDA member. His name is Jose Enrique Martinez Flores, for terrorism and trafficking, substance trafficking, okay? This is part of what's called Operation Take Back America. It's a nationwide initiative to combat TDA and other transnational criminal organizations. The FBI, the DEA, and some other agencies are involved, with 21 of 27 alleged, and I have to say that word alleged because I'm not personally involved, so I don't really know, alleged TDA members that are in custody as of April of 2025. So then you have to bring in Pam Bondi. She described TDA as a highly structured terrorist organization, and they are extremely structured. I mean, for them to be able to take over entire towns, that takes discipline, that takes structure. Okay? They are responsible for such chaos and mayhem. I've never seen anything like it before. I mean, and I grew up in Atlantic City around the mafia. That is structure. These guys, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're like the mafia, but they've got structure just like it. These actions show the United States is taking the TDA threat seriously. Though the focus is on the criminal activity side rather than the specific plots against Americans. So while the FBI's assessment raises legitimate concerns, the tone, the specific claims, they are not fully substantiated by public evidence that I have been able to find myself. But the Maduro regime's facilitation of TDA's migration is extremely plausible, and it's not plausible deniability at all whatsoever. It's plausible with evidence behind it, given Venezuela's history of harboring criminal groups like the Colombian guerrillas, which was noted by a former spy chief. However, direct evidence of a coordinated assassination campaign targeting Americans, that's lacking just a little bit there. But these posts that I keep saying, and please keep sending them to me because they are intriguing, and you know me, I love to do my research. It may amplify fear to push a political narrative, as seen in its reference to the Democratic judges and the invasion and okay. But TDA's presence in the U.S. is a real, true concern. We have them here in Florida, for crying out loud. Okay, they run rampant in Miami. But conflating it with a broad plot against Americans, it risks overstating the threat without clear evidence. Conversely, dismissing the threat entirely, which I would never do, because we know that there is a real true threat, as some conflicting reports might suggest, okay, ignores the FBI's documented concerns about TDA's activities, okay, and I would never dismiss the threat entirely, because why would you dismiss a threat that you know is actually there? But the whole attempt on live, American lives, we don't know that for sure. Okay. But the unclassified documents and stuff like that, yes, it is true. But, we'll just have to, like, put our hand on our asses and wait and see what, you know what I mean? That type of thing. But thank you for sending me these posts and videos and stuff like that, because I love to do my research. But that's all for this video, guys, okay? I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless. Ciao.